Alrighty folks, so welcome back to another update. This is going to kind of be a short little update, but I've been working non-stop on this front clip here, and probably got it all apart, thank God. Except for the pasture side, but I am working on that. And we're finally making some progress on it. And I tell you what, it's a job. So, I figure I'd stop before I get too crazy on it and get too ahead. But, got radiator supports there. Got a hood back here. Multiple parts over here. Got the fender off. Now I've been working on this center fender like crazy, going through every little area on it and just kind of working my way all the way around, getting all the little clips off, getting all the bolts that are rotted to pieces, and well, not really rotted, but I couldn't even get off, going through and cutting all the bolt heads off. I had to go through here and cut the staples off. Had a couple staples in the inner fender down there, so I went ahead and got them off, got all the little clips off, and I will fix that back. But I'm doing this a certain way. This is the way I like to do it. I like to take my time and break it down and go through all around it. Just kind of work my way all the way around. And a couple bolt holes right there. That bolts to a bracket on the firewall. And we've got a little bit of rot right here to fix. It's nothing terrible. But we got a little corner piece to make, not a big deal. Then we come up here, and again, there's the brackets. And just trying to really take my time with this thing and go all the way around it and get it straightened out. So now everything is straightened out. All our bolt holes are straightened out now. We don't have no issues. I took all the clips off of it that weren't any good, and well, pretty much none of them really were. And now we got a nice, usable, workable fender. The only thing I got to do now is take a tap and chase the threads out here, and we'll be good to go. So this center fender is, completely straightened out as far as, hardware goes. So that's taken care of. Now the next step is we're going to take and clean this fender up, wash it up real good. Get all the grease and tar and everything off of it. A little bit of grease right there. And then once that's done, then we'll clean it up, get everything down to good clean bare metal, and prime it. And then we'll fix our rust, recreate our corner there. And then once that's done, I'll go through and figure out what hardware we need. And hardware's not a big deal, but I want to put all new clips in it and fix the hardware right, so that way everything is bolted up properly. And it's done the right way. So I like to do stuff the right way. I just, it's just the way I am. I just don't like halfway doing stuff too. So anyway, so we got all this apart here, getting ready to get this other side apart here. And I got one bolt that's holding me up on this side, but other than that, I think it'll be all right. And these inner fenders, other than that little corner down here, that ain't nothing. So I'll make that. These inner fenders are going to clean up really nice. So this fender right here, I had to go in here. Unfortunately, this is the last option, and I had to do the last option. There's just no way to get it off. So I had to come in here and notch it out just a little bit so I could get the nut that's spot welded onto this fender. I had to go back in behind it and notch that out so I could hold it, because it was sitting there spinning. And there's just no way to do that. And that really is a shame, but I got the original pieces. They are laying up here. And had to do that on the other side as well. So here's the piece for this side. This is the driver's side piece. So I got that piece right there, and I had to cut a little bit bigger one on the passenger side. The only reason I went just a little bit bigger is because the passenger side bottom of the fender is rotted, and I'm not as worried on this side, but I really didn't want to do that, but it's just no choice. So I got to come in here and hold that hold it still, zip that bolt out, and then our fender will be free on this side, and then we'll be good to go. And I tried to go in there and get a cutoff wheel in there because I was going to try to cut that bolt off, but it's just, I don't want to do that. So, and see, this fender is already rotted, so I'm not too worried about it, but unfortunately, that's what I had to do. And I'm trying to take my time and get these lower fender extensions off. And, you know, because this stuff, you got to take your time on taking this stuff apart like this. I've been working on this probably 4 or 5 hours now. And, yep, 5 hours. So I've been working on this 5 hours here. Just check the time here. You got to take your time on this stuff. I got the one bumper bracket off as well. And you really got to take your time with it. So we got, this is the driver's side here. And it's got a little bit of rot in it, but you know, you got to take your time with it. You don't take and be trying to twist stuff off and all that. You know, you got to take your time with it, cut the bolts off. Because now we got good templates. So that's very important with this stuff. I've learned that from our Plymouth build, so it makes it very important. And just try to go through and get this thing a little more straightened out. And I got to cut these bolts off. I doubt they're going to come out, but I got to cut those 2 bolts off, get that bracket off there. And then I already got all the splash pan and all that stuff. I got all that out of the way, and it's going to clean up real nice. So I'm trying to get everything out of the way. I like to do it like this, so that way we can clean our firewall up, get all that straightened out. And I want to clean the frame up, get everything nice and painted, and then I want to, while this is off, I want to put all new suspension on it and straighten this suspension out, put it all back together the way it's supposed to be, because I got a good used steering box and everything for it. We're just going to put manual steering, manual brakes on this car. I'm not, you know, we're not really going to do power anything on this car. It's just a bare bones car. It's a bare bones car to begin with from the factory, so it's going to remain a bare bones car. So anyway, so I'm trying to go through here and just take my time on this stuff, do it right. And the other reason too why I'm getting it all off, I'm sure I already mentioned it, but that way I got access to get to all the brake lines and everything on it, and we can plumb it back up and do it nice. And you know, I'm not restoring this car. We're not restoring it. I'm just, the reason why I like to go the extra mile and do it the right way like this is, you know, see all that rot and everything? This stuff's got to be addressed. This car, you know, you can't just sit there and slap a motor in it and slap brakes on it and take it up down the road. You know, this car is, it's unsafe. This stuff has got to be addressed, and it needs to be done properly. So that's why I'm taking my time, and I like to go through one part at a time, and you know, just like I did here. This fender is good to go now. All I got to do is clean it up, wash it up, and we'll take and get it all down to bare metal and prime it and fix our corner right there, and we'll be good to go. Then we'll move on to our fender, do the same thing to that, get that straightened out, and I think we're going to be good to go. I am going to take the spear and the trim off that fender. I'm going to do that because I'm going to take that fender, and I think we're going to go on and just do it the right way and just go on and paint it, because I'm going to paint the firewall. We might as well paint, you know, the fenders and everything else too. And the other reason too, I think I mentioned it already, but I want to take this windshield back out of this car. It's just sitting in there, but it's junk anyway. But I want to get it out and get that other piece of trim off on this passenger side, and be able to get our dash bolted in. Well, not bolted. Well, yeah, it is a couple bolts on. Get the dash bolted in, but I also want to get it welded back in place and get that fixed the way it needs to be. And it makes it a lot easier having the front clip off of it, because now I can, you know, look at this. I can walk right up to it. I can get right up on it, get everything, see how everything is going. You know, the chain on all that, and that, you know, it just makes it nice. It gives me a whole lot more room. And then when I put the car back together, I know that everything has been done the way I want it. And anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do here, and I got to go in here too. I'm also going to pull these last of these door panels out, get all the window winders, door handles, all that stuff off of it, and I want to get all that out, put it away. I know it's no good, but I'm going to save them for now, because we can again use them for templates. And I want to do the interior right on this car, but not right now, but later down the road. But you know, I'm trying to do this car the right way. So eventually I'm going to get floor pans for it, but I think for now we're going to cut all the rod out I'm going to save the transmission tunnel. You know, we're not going to disturb that. But I think I'm going to come in here and just cut the rod out and just repair it for now, so we can at least put the seats back in it and be able to take it up down the road once we get all this straightened out. So, and I got most of the stuff. That's about half of the suspension stuff for it. I still got to get the ball joints and get new coil springs and shocks and all for it. And plus I want to put new bushings in it. But I always believe in, you know, if you brakes and suspension and, you know, your drive shaft, your rear end, you know, anything mechanical like that, you know, it's not stuff to play around with. It needs to be done right and done proper. And, you know, I just like to, it's not really, you know, it is going the extra mile. It's not really overkilling it, but it's, you know, you got the car to be safe. It's got to be safe. So that's why I like to do this. So I just can't stress that enough. So I'm going to take and get back on this thing, get that other bolt off, get this fender off. And this is done as far as repairing, you know, getting all the junk bolts and everything out of it. And going that route, because now if I really wanted, I could just bolt it back on and I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, fighting a bunch of junk clips and all that. But you know, we're gonna do that right. But I gotta finish up this fender here. We got some issues going on, and it's not as bad as what I thought. Now that we got this stuff apart, I could see what's really going on. I couldn't figure out what was up with the headlight buckets and all that, because the passenger side looked like it was kind of crushed in a little bit. And what it was is, I know I kind of backed into this car by accident, but what it was is it was already rotten to begin with, and it backed into it. I didn't. This car's been backed into before, and the bumper was pushed back a little bit, and that's why I couldn't figure out, because I noticed that when I was taking the bumper off, the bumper was further back against the valance, and it had more of a gap on this side. So now I think when we even that out, we'll be all right. So, oh, and if you want to see the bumper, I got that off. I had to take it off in a weird way. I got that side off like that. I did have to take the bracket off, but I had to take it off kind of a funny way. But I got to go back and get that other bracket off. But I tried to get them bolts broke loose, but they just, you know, this stuff is 70 some years old. It's just better off just cut the bolts off. But I got the whole bumper off now, and now you can see the valve panels are gone, but the bumper is actually pretty decent. So I mean, it ain't perfect, but it's a good structural bumper. So I think we're gonna be fine. We'll go and clean it up, paint it up, and we'll figure out something about the valuses, because they're just, you know, they're gone. But I think it'll clean up pretty good. And then I got to figure out something about that fan guard. I need a fan guard for it. I did go through and straighten the grill up. I think I mentioned that a little bit. It ain't perfect, but that's what I want to do. And I was able to get this ballast off. You know, I tried to take my time with it, and finally got it apart. I still gotta, you know, I gotta, stuff like this, I gotta go through and cut this bolt off there, cut that nut off, and then we'll get rid of this piece of trash, and then this valve will be repaired as far as, you know, junk like that. It'll be ready to go, and then it'll be ready to, you know, clean up and prime and paint and let it ride. So, you know, that's what I like to do, is just go through this stuff and repair everything. I'm sure I'm going to be replacing every single bolt in this, but it's, you know, I know it's a little, might be a little pricey in the end, but it's worth it. You know, this is a safety thing I do too, because, you know, if you replace all the hardware, it makes the front end nice and strong. It's structurally the way it needs to be. And God forbid, you know, if something ever happens down the road, the car's going to hold together better. So, you know, that's why I do that too, as a safety thing. So, and plus I don't want rusty old junk bolts, you know, on my hot rod. I like to have stuff cleaned up, presentable, you know, have pride. I like to have a little pride in this stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna quit blabbing here, and I'm gonna get back to it here. So I figured I'd give some updates on this, and I hope you're kind of enjoying the build. I took my time and got this headlight bucket off, and I'm gonna straighten it up. And it's actually, we're going to be able to save these, so that's good, because these things are really ridiculously priced, and it's just, you know, I get tired of paying top dollar for everything. So I'm going to go through here and straighten them out and just patch them and just fix what we got, and I think we're going to be good to go. I will have to go in here, you know, probably drill out every single rivet, the headlight adjusters and all that, but that's not a big deal because that's worth it. I'd much rather do that than, you know, these are ridiculous. I'm not paying top dollar for that stuff. Luckily, they do reproduce these pieces right here. I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on, but they do actually reproduce these. I might buy one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll clean it up and see how it looks. We might be able to just patch it and straighten it out a little bit and be able to use it, but there's them bees nest I was fighting. I was fighting them darn bees here. I got tired of... There's a big old nest too. Look at that. Darn bees. Yeah, they got up behind the headlight there, but see, I take my time and, you know, it's real careful with this stuff, and these are actually riveted on. And everywhere I ground off there was actually riveted, so it's crazy. But I took my time and ground every single one of them off. And I actually had to go in here. This was riveted too. That was crazy. I never seen. No, it was the ballast. That's right. Yeah, the ballast was riveted. That was crazy. I never seen that before. But the ballast behind the bumper, I could not believe was riveted. And one of them broke. It was just kind of, the rivet was rusted and weak anyway, so it broke. So that worked out. But the other two had yeah, this one broke. Well, excuse me, not this one. The top one broke, and this one I had to grind off on this side. But it had two rivets right there. It's crazy. I've never seen that. But it's just so many little details like that. You know, you got to really, really take your time when you take this stuff apart. And it's just crazy. I couldn't figure out why in the world it wouldn't come off. And, you know, you got to take your time with it. And I was like, well, ain't that something? Got two rivets right there. And that goes to show, what does that tell you? It tells me this front clip has never been off, and it's the original front clip. So this car, you know, the good part about it, I don't think this car has really been, I mean, it might, you know, somebody backed into it. Of course, I backed into it too by accident. But this car has never really been in an accident. It's got all the original sheet metal on this car, except for our driver's side door, of course, unfortunately. But this car, I mean, other than that, has all the original sheet metal. All the doors are the original sheet metal. The trunk lid is the original sheet metal. And that makes this car so much nicer. And when we put everything back, we'll have our original sheet metal as well. And I'm debating on taking our radiator support and repairing it. Our original that was buckled all up. And I'm kind of considering repairing it because, again, I'd like to keep this car all the original sheet metal. Because how many cars like this do you see that have all the original sheet metal except for the door? That's just, it's crazy. You don't see that. But I know we'll have some patch panels, of course, but it's just, you know, it's kind of besides the point. It's just nice to have, you know, the original fenders, the inner fenders, you know, the heater box, the stuff, the car's not mismatched, and you know what you got. It just makes it nice. And how you truly save money is you use what you have. Instead of, you know, saying, oh, I'm going to just throw these fenders away because they're rotted all to pieces. Instead of just scrapping them, instead of just scrapping them, you know, and that kind of thing, just, oh, I'm going to throw them away. You fix what you got. That ain't that big a deal. Make a template, you know, lay a piece of paper on here, make a template, trim that little bit off, remake that. And then the only thing I got to figure out is this piece right here. I'm not sure. I got to figure out how that's supposed to look. I got an idea, but it should have that angle like this side. But it would be nice if they reproduce these panels that go here. But other than the rot right there, these fenders are like perfect. You know, they look worse than what they really were. I mean, it's got a little surface rust inside, but these fenders are clean. They're good, usable fenders. I got to get that bracket off there. But even the hood hinges on this car were the original hood hinges too. But it's just crazy. Well, I forgot about that. So it was the door and the hood. Yep. The door and the hood were the only things that were ever replaced on this car. I don't really know what happened to the hood on the car, and I really don't know what happened to the door. I remember this car was sitting on blocks when I was about 12 years old in '04. That tells you how old I am. And I remember it still had the steering column and everything in it. Really, the car was pretty much exactly like it is right now, other than it might not have been as rotted, but it was still, you know, pretty rough. But I remember the door was sitting right beside it. But I gotta find these pictures. I got pictures of this car from 2004 that I took of this car when I was 12 years old. But it's crazy. So I'm gonna quit blabbing here and get some stuff done and work on getting this wrapped up here. And I'll get this little piece off. You gotta cut a couple more bolts off. A couple more bolts off there. And then I'm gonna go on and pull this fender off over here, and I think it will have it good. But anyway, I want to give an update because, you know, I haven't, you know, forgot about this car or anything like that. It's just I've been trying to do so many other things, you know, trying with the Plymouth build and trying to get the Chevelle on the road. You know, I want to get back on this car. I love this car. This is a fun car. But I'm going to get back on it, and I hope y'all enjoy the videos. And, you know, I don't mean anything bad about my videos, but that's just how I am. I just like to do things a certain way. You know, have a little pride, take a little time with this stuff, and that's just the way I like to do stuff. So anyway, see y'all later. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.